Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Lim. Yeah, good morning to those participants from the floor and also the Zoom online. Okay, Lim from Vitally here. So maybe I could have some short brief on our product first. Maybe you have heard of ACP and you are not really understand on it. Also, let's have some short brief. So maybe you have heard of Vitally Group before. So actually Vitally Group, we have two companies. One is which I'm coming from is Vitally Industries in Berhad. So we are solely manufactured on aluminum composite panel. The short form we call ACP. Okay. So the other sister company is Vitally Sdn Berhad that's solely manufactured on aluminum home product, which is aluminum bifolds. So those for space saving for toilet doors, mainly for toilet doors, that's space saving. You might not very well known in here, but in central KL, they might need space saving, so they will have bifold doors. Okay, never mind. Today we were just focusing on the aluminum composite panel. Okay, so both companies are ISO 9001 2015 certified. Yep. Okay. So this is our manufacturing plant solely for the ACP in Muar Johor. So we are the local manufacturer for ACP. So our production capacity is about 240,000 meters square per month. So say one project is 10,000 meters square. So we can easily supply up to 24 projects per month. Okay. So besides supplying within Malaysia, we also supply to Southeast Asia countries, as well as like Taiwan and Papua New Guinea. So our annual turnover is about 70 million annually. So besides our HQ in Muar Johor, we do also have branch office in Puchong, Selangor, and also Butterworth, Penang. So this is our aluminum coil factory. Okay, so we have 7 fully automated coating lines, and it specialized in the conventional color coated coil, mainly like for those solid or metallic color. But we do also have some special grains like wood grains or stone grains effect. Okay. So this is the coil coating line process that you might want to know about. So basically, is every row of aluminum skin comes in a row, and we need to do some cleaning and degreasing before topping with the coating. So of course, they will go through the primer and PVDF top coat and go for the clear coat. Okay, but if there's like wood grain or stone grain texture, of course, they will need to go the texture and pattern roller before the clear coat. After the clear coat, we will go for QC, recoil back and for packing. Okay, ACP is actually a lamination or sandwich panel. It's with aluminum skin and also the core. However, the core itself is not comes in like a flat sheet. They will need to be melted as the foam pellet. They need to be melted and do a lamination process. So in Muar Johor, we basically do the lamination process and extrusion process. So melting, and then we do extrusion. Of course, after the curing process, cool down first, and then go for the lamination of protection and cut to size. So as the local manufacturer, we need to confirm that our products is conforming to the standards. Okay, so we have our own QC lab in the Muar Johor factory. So this QC lab is actually having more than 20 equipments that normally the equipments are also similar to the CVIM lab. And our lab is actually audited by CVIM annually. So this is actually the palette, I mean just now. Yeah. So what's the process of the QC test that we will done? Okay, mainly for aluminum coil. Sorry, aluminum coil will test on the color, the thickness of the coating, as well as the coating flexibility. So I will just pick some main one. For the color variance test, this one will test every row of the coin, we will cut a sample, and then we'll test according to the master papers. So the variance should not exceeding delta 2E. Okay. So for the thickness, of course, there will be a minimum of 33 micron. Okay, as according to MS 2571. So for the coating flexibility, we will test mainly on the impact resistance and also the bending test. Why is the coating flexibility so important? Because ACP needed to be fabricated and bended before the installation. So the coating itself should not have cracking or peeling during the fabrication process. Okay, so for the impact resistance test, how is it actually like? We having the metal ball that mimicking of 50 kgs of impact, and we will drop on the aluminum coil. So it will sure be a dent on the coil itself. However, it will be a very smooth dent. If there's any cracking, then so cannot be going through production. Okay. So for the bending test, it will be 3 times of 180 degrees bending. Okay. So during the process, no cracking or peeling should happen. So for the core itself, we were having density test, melt flow, and also halogen. But the most important is the density test. According to the MS 2571 standards, we should have a minimum 1.6 gram per cubic centimeter. This is the most important density. Okay, we strictly follow this. Okay, so for the finished product, as I mentioned just now, ACP is actually a laminate panel. So we will test on the peel strength and also the boiling water to ensure there's no delamination after the installation. Okay, so peel strength is actually, we try to peel off the core from the coil. So more strength needed means the strengthen the adhesiveness of the bonding of the panel. Okay, so for the boiling, we will also test 2 hours of boiling test at 100 degrees Celsius for the whole panel. So if after the 2 hours, the panel is not delaminated, then okay. So we'll also do for the fire resistant test and also cyclic corrosion. So for the ACP, you might well know it for the exterior wall cladding. However, ACP could also make use for interior wall panel or only roofing and also advertising board. However, today we will just focus on ACP for the exterior cladding, sorry. So for ACP, the main compliance is MS 2571. I hope that you might aware of this. So what is the main requirements? So for exterior cladding, it should be flame retardant core. What do you mean by flame retardant core? Okay, so it means it should comprise minimum 70% of non-combustible mineral. Okay, so for aluminum alloy, it should be 3000 or 5000 series. And surface coating should be fluorocarbon coating with 70% of PVDF or FEV bracing. Okay, so of course there will be thickness of coating and weight for them. Okay, and the fire resistance should at least be class O. In our case, okay, vitally SCP is actually comprising 75% of mineral. Okay, so we also having 3000 or 5000 series. And our surface coating is 70% PVDF, and our thickness of coating and also the weight is already far achieving the standards. And of course, we are compliant to class O, means we have passed the BS 476, part 6 and part 7. This is the basic, okay? So this is the standard in the market. The standard panel will be 4 mm total thickness. So for exterior application, it should be 0.5 mm aluminum skin. Okay, so we are using PPG 70%, China 500 PVDF. So for width, our standard is 1250 and 1550 upon request. So there are several standard lengths too for your choices. However, we could also customize up to 6 meters. Okay. So what is the mineral content? Actually, how you compare the mineral itself is coming in white color powder. So normally you see the fire retardant core panel, it will be white color of the core. Okay. So comprises of 75. Why are we choosing magnesium hydroxide? It is because it is halogen free. Means there is no toxic or flammable corrosion or corrosive gases during a fire. As you know, sometimes when fire happens, people are not die of fire burning. They are die of the gas or the smoke. So we should ensure there's no toxic gases. Okay. So it is also having an excellent flame retardant performance and also environmental friendly. Okay. So we are having 30 standard colors in our range. So you could always mix and match according to your project needs. So if you have customized color, you might send us the RAL code, or if you have the actual sample, always welcome to send us the actual sample for matching. So besides the standard colors, these are the wood grains and also stone grains that we have. Then if you have special wood grain that you get from maybe the other materials that you might want to matching, so you could also send us the actual sample. We could do that for matching. Okay. So on the surface coating itself, since you know ACP is for exterior cladding, the surface coating is how important. So we are using PPG because they are very highly resistant to chopping, peeling, chipping, and also fading. So this coating is strictly meeting the AAMA 2605 requirements. So all the color pigment are tested 10 years at least outdoor, and these colors are PPG approved and certified. Okay. So this diagram is to show you why are we using China 500 resin. Okay. So over the 14 years, only China 500 has retained the colors well. This is the different types of resin base. So if compared to polyester or acrylic, you can clearly see the effect, the impact. Okay. So when we talk about fire, so in before this, actually only class O are required for exterior cladding, right? But after the Grenfell Tower in 2017, Bomba started to more concerned about the fire performance of compliance for the exterior cladding. So currently in Malaysia, since 2020, end of 2021, so Bomba already amend on their circular, and also UVBL is already updated. Class O is required for buildings that is below 80 meters. So those cladding system that is beyond 80 meters height building, means the total height of the building is 80 meter height, you should require BF 8414 system. Okay, so these are the material and also system. So I think this one you are quite familiar with, so I just skip it. And then we have do EN 13501 also. This is the additional tab. And STME 84, this is mainly for the interior wall and also the interior ceiling. Okay. So the BS 8414, which are most concerning nowadays, so it is actually assessing the complete cladding system test, which incorporating the joint corner details, fixing insulation if there's any, and fire breaks or cavity behind, and the other elements of the whole cladding system. So this test is applicable to all cladding materials, not restricting to ACP, is also applied to solid panel, GFRC, and etc. So there are 5 test criteria, and we have passed all the 5, and we are the first to pass in 2019 in Kulim Rasa. Okay. So these are all our compliance. We are compliant to CIDB PPS, MS 2571, Bomba, BS 8414, as well as Class O. This is our additional test for EN 13501 and STME 84. So if you need any GBI credits for your project, okay, this GBI credits is already assessed by the GBI facilitator. Okay, so mainly on EQ4 and MR3. Welcome to let us know if you need this, and we see what we could help. Okay. So just to share with you some of our ongoing and our completed projects. So these are our current project, Hikmah Exchange, and also Wisma Sumber Alam. Over here. You might pass or just pass by. So the Spring Mall Bintulu and Ibu Pejabat Daerah Lawas, as well as the Chevrolet showroom in Ibu. So these are our recent completed MNC Gabonda MRT2 line, comprises of 50,000 meters square of panel. So you can see over here, there are 8 stations in total. And Somewhere International School at USJ, 10,000 meters square, and some of the residents that we have completed recently, mainly in KL. So some of the factories that we have supplied in Penang and also Malacca, TFAMD and also Infineon. Some of the residential projects, the Pavilion 2 Mall, Bukit Jalil City. Okay. Okay. So normally ACP are applied like a full flat cladding, right? So actually you can play around with your creativity on some different shapes, like 3D shapes like this, or curving, and also some fascia. Okay. Some of the commercial car showroom. Some government offices are building in JB. And some healthcare. Some of the institutional. You can actually bending into this shape actually if you fabricate the creative enough to fabricate this. Some of the toll plaza and our overseas project. Okay. Just now I have mentioned that we have our own QC lab to assessing our own quality. And besides that, we are also tested to all the compliance testing. And we provide 10 years of warranty against the manufacturing defect, such as the color fading, chalking, and also delamination. Okay, so in terms of price, I can say that our price is quite competitive if comparing to the similar range. So as the local manufacturer, how could we help further in the cost saving? So we could help to minimize the wastage by cutting to size. Okay. So for the standard colors, we can deliver like 4 weeks after the confirmation. And for the standard colors which need matching, we'll need like 6 to 8 weeks after the confirmation. Okay, that's all for my sharing today. If you have any question, welcome to drop by our booth outside, so we could have a more detailed discussion later. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lim. That was a very enlightening introduction. So for the next speaker, I would like to introduce Mr. Louis Fu. He's a principal facade specialist for Building Facade Group, one of the pioneering company to do facade. I think in Kuching there's not many, so I'm sure everybody will be very interested to hear what he has to say. So, Mr. Louis.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone. Good morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. I try to make my presentation more lively. It's a very good morning, very sunny day. Okay, Again, my name is Louis Fu. I'm from BFG, built for generations. So BFG provides facade consultancy and engineering services. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Vitaly, for allowing us to have these presentations to share our experience to you all. I think when we talk about facade elements, there's a lot of things to talk about. So today I'm not going to go very detailed. So I'll just briefly go through what is the critical items that normally as architect you will face. You have to find the balance between the clients, the engineers, and your beautiful design. So I will start by having a quick introduction to BFG. So BFG, Malaysia, found in 2016. So our office location actually is in Q Central, KL Central. So BFG, we have associate partners across Singapore, Indonesia, Shanghai, and Thailand. So in KL, we have 19 staff colleagues together, and others areas total we have around 50. To be honest, we normally share our resources. Like Indonesia, we have people that are specialists in doing fabrications. We ask them to help, and engineers, some things in Singapore. So we provide services like facade consultancy, engineering analysis, diagnose, inspection, and BMU consultancy as well. So next will be, this is some of our completed projects. We have high-end residential, glass blocks, office towers, factories, and even revived projects in KL. So these are some of the current projects. Some of them is going to end because of the pandemics. It delayed a lot. And these are some of the architects that we are worked with and now or previously. So like GDP, BEP, KPF, DP architects, and a lot. So hopefully I can work with you all in the future here. So a quick introduction. These my directors, BFG. It's Andrew Xia. He's here today. So I'm a little bit stressed. Like bring me back to having a test. Then my lecturer is assess my performance there, down there. Hope he's not kicking me down later. Okay, so Andrew, he's engineers. So he basically in charge of all the assessing all the engineering design for all the facade elements. So next, this is me. So I just completed my 3 years MBA in construction management during the pandemic time. Seriously, don't try it if you really have time. It's really, really tough. I also graduate in Chile a long time ago. And then I also is a certified green RE myself. So a quick introduction of what is facade engineering. So the facade, as we know, is the building envelopes. So refer to the external shell or skins of the buildings above ground level. So people always ask, CNS, can you do my engineering calculation, take care of my facade? I think most of the time, the CNS will tell you, sorry, it's not my job. So that is the time that we step in to fill in the gaps. Then we provide the secondary structures, which we call the mullion, the glass, all these secondary supports, also included all the steel structure. So facade engineers is a professional with interdisciplinary engineering skill who specialists in the design, engineering, fabrication, and constructions. Because when we do design, we have to take the facts is most of the materials, there is limitations. We cannot build like unlimited length, unlimited width. So just now, I think Vitaly also shared there's a limitation on the width. Length, we can do up to 6 meters, no problem. So facade engineering also play a critical role in ensuring the facade is not only aesthetic pleasing, but also the performance. And the facade materials and system is respect to, we have a lot of items. need to be taken care of. So just let you have a quick look, and then we'll go through some of the very important factors later in the slide. So now, my title today is mainly we talk about reliability and safety of facade. So what is reliability? So when we talk about reliability, it's the quality of being trustworthy and performing consistently well. So safety is the condition of being protected from danger, risk, and injury. We want to eliminate all these risks. So how to do it? So first thing first is the common facade performance failure. We have to know the consequences of a failure of a facade. So when you hand over the projects, people start to stay in, move in, and then they start to make a lot of noise. So first thing first always will be the weather thickness, the mix. Then you have these whistling sounds from the facade. Why every time when the wind blow, my facade always have this whistling those sound, especially at the night time, very scary. So we have a lot of other factors as well, like load tolerance. When you design the loadings, don't have enough tolerance. Like I want 1 mm gap, silicon gap. Is it possible between the structures and facade? So it's very, very challenging. So durability, buildability, condensation, compatibilities, structures, maintainability, thermal, aesthetic, daylight, and sound. All these we go through the critical later in the slides. So safety of facade. So when we talk about safety, this is the 3 of the most critical safety factors we have to consider first. The integrity of the structures, the public safety, and the fire safety. So now, first, structure integrity. So structure integrity is an engineered field that helps to ensure the structure or structural components purpose under normal operations is safe, or sometimes not slightly over the normal situation. So we are talking about it supports own weight, very important. Prevent deformations when we talk about structures, and then breakings and failure. So this photo actually shows the quite common. I think most of the time you heard a lot of stories. We're talking about falling objects, ACPs, stones, even the famous Penang accidents that the whole huge antenna fell off from the buildings. I think you still remember it. So all these things, we have all these record down the time, projects, that what happens. So all these things happen in the market. We really take notes, and then we want to improve it by analyze why it fails. So next will be the public safety. So this also happen quite often. So what happened is, for example, the chopping glass fell off from the sky. Why the glass is not attached to the facade? Is it we don't have any structural silicon or any gasket failure, and mate fell off from the condo from level 27. Why? The facade itself supposed to act as a safety barrier. People will lean against the facade, but yet it fell off with people. So these things is fallen objects, compliance safety glass, climb hazard, and failure of the barrier. Next will be the fire safety. I think these photos has been used many times, and then also just happened when before I come to teaching, our KWSP burned again. So we'll have more discussion on the BSA 4 Fund 4 later. I have 3 slides to particularly talk about how we as a consultant to document it in our tender drawings to make sure the contractors comply. So I think the Grenfell Towers is the case that most people talk about because it cost a lot of lives during that accident. Next, remember the chart, the table. So the first items is the weather tightness. So when we talk about weather tightness, basically we are referring to 2 items, the air tightness and the water tightness. So air tightness is the whistling sounds from the facade, especially at the 4-way joint. So when we talk about curtain wall, unitized curtain walls. So the four-way joints is always at the gutter, the cross section. That is the area that very difficult to treat. So most of the time, how people will do it, they just apply silicone. But how people apply silicones, we don't know because we don't have a professional or trained, certified people stand there and make sure they're doing the correct way. So some buildings, I believe, you will have your experience that you have these bounds. Don't know why. And then water tightness, I think is very straightforward. When the rain penetrates through the facade, you will have all these mold degradations of sealants and gasket. So what is the correct materials for gasket? Because in the market, I think you have the EPDM, Central Green, TPV, you have a lot of selection, but which one is the correct one to choose? Next, insulations. So we need to insulate the facade to separate out the external and the internal environment. Why? Because of the thermal comfort. Nowadays, we always talk about energy efficient buildings. So thermal is very critical. The next thing will be the sound, or we call it acoustic. So acoustic is very critical for what? I mean, for the buildings that very near to the airport, for example, high pollution, sound pollution areas, and buildings, especially in the urban area like hospitals, is very critical. But how to apply the insulation, how to select the glass. So all these is facade elements we have to think more in the technical way. Next will be the aesthetic. So deteriorated coatings, glass discoloration, glass condensation. This is a case study in Malaysia. So I think everyone know this building, our only Starks building, the TM Tower. So TBM tend to sell it. So if you see from far, this is the PVDF coatings peeling off. It's very obvious, not even like standing next to it. So this is a condensations, why it happens. I think you know the terms of pressure equalizations at the spandrel areas, because when we build a spandrels with a back pans, at the same time, we need to make sure this void it can breathe. So we prevent any condensation. So this happens quite often. Next, we talk about corrosion. So corrosion is tightly tied to the integrity of the structures. So why corrosion happens? So if you look at all these, most of these photos, we talk about bimetal corrosion. So when we use two different metals to attach together, one of the metals will have chemical reaction, then corrosion will happen very fast. So another things, falling objects like the advertising structures. So this also is part of the potential reason behind of the bimetal corrosion. So E, the operable components. I think this one a lot of you familiar. How to choose the correct ironmongeries, especially for the siding, for the side hung window. Imagine your side hung window is heavily rely on your hinge to hold the whole glass. So I think I'm going to wrap this section up by using this graph. So the performance over time, these red colors always is the expectations from us as a consultant to the client. So we hope this the facade, when they hand over, the performance will drop down gently through times. However, without any proper maintenance, the life shelves of the materials or system will aging swiftly, very fast. So after we understand our problem, the consequences and the risks, so how to achieve a facade reliable and safety through the design process. So the first one, I think the easiest always, I think a lot of people, you understand this graph, is this is a pre-construction stage when we call it early design stage. We start with concept, schematic, design, development, construction, document, tender, and construction. So of course, all the while, I will advise you, please engage us earlier. So we want to get into projects to identify the potential issue, identify potential risks, not only for the materials, also for the system as well, as soon as possible. So when we get this early information decision done earlier, so normally we will have a cost saving at the back because we already identify, we already tell the client that, look, you have to use this kind of material instead of like you leave a provisions and then later you have to upgrade it, then you have a VO in the future. So early informed decision to allow the project team to drive a better facade delivery process and better business decision rather than verify poor design after they are locked in, especially after they're there. So risk assessment also avoid risks where possible. Evaluate those risks is part of our job, and then put in place the proportion measure that control in the quality, time, and cost. Unfortunately, you cannot have three things together. So you have to have either two. So we will give very good advice, especially technically, engineering, and the material as well. So BFG philosophy, very simple, KIFF. So we keep it simple and complete. So how to do it? Design to maximize the reputation. That's why all the while, we always like to use unitized system, where sometimes you draw one cutting list, 1 to 100, then you can use the same system. Why? Because repetition do not confuse your workers. Imagine you have 1,000 panels, 1,000 different shapes. The workers have to have a learning curve of 1,000 times. That you put a lot of risk to the production line. Number two is design to keep the complex work in the factory. As I say, unitize, put everything in the factory instead of like bringing to the site to install. Because when the site, not only the facade contractors going to do their work, you have ID, you have NE, you have structures. So it's very, very complicated. So okay to confuse your workers in a control environment. So we always call the factory itself is a control environment. Next will be design with the site tolerance and adjustment. What does it mean? Normally, what's the tolerance between the structure edge and the facade back of the mullion? We will say 55. Why we need this 50? Can I just put 5? Yes, we can put 5, but do you trust your structure? So why is always we have this argument with the structure engineers? What's your tolerance? 15 mm. Are you sure? Normally their tolerance is like 1 to 2 inch, not mm. So for facade, our tolerance is 1 to 2 mm. So that's the gap between structures and facade. Next will be design the installation with minimum risk asset. Imagine you design a panel, super huge panel with double glazed glass. That panel itself is 300 kg. So it's not fun to hoist it up, this 300 kg panels in the sky. So it's very, very dangerous. So design with future repair works, meaning that always we need to think of the maintenance strategy, because when you think if anything can goes wrong, it will goes wrong. This panel, this glass will not break. Don't worry, it will break. So this is the verbiage. So after we have this theory, I'm going to go to a more interesting part. Then straight away we talk about what is safety glass. I'm not going to go very deep because glass is a big topic. I can sit here to talk about glass for 2 hours, no problem. But just a quick one. So when you ask me, a lot of time, architect and client always ask me, why I have to, what kind of glass we have to choose? Let's say I have a 60 floors building. So from us, we always try to advise the client and architect, please go for laminated glass. Why laminated glass? Because we know when it breaks, the glass is still there, especially residential tower. Can you imagine you come back home, suddenly your glass gone, then heavy rain, so all your furniture spoiled. So the problem from tempered glass also is a safety glass, but the problem of safety glass, I understand that there's a potential of spontaneous breaking because of the impurity of the raw glass. This spontaneous breakings in BFG specification, we always say 3 out of 1,000 we allow. But when you allow, it doesn't mean that it won't happen. When it happens, that units, so we have to take responsibility. Of course, the last one will be annual glass. So the importance of reputations is very, very important. Not only you, from us as well. That's why always try to go for laminated glass. So this is a case study in Penang. I'm surprised when some contractors sent this photo to me. 27th floor, they are using annual glass. It breaks. This glass fell off to big pieces, sharp edges, from level 27 all the way to the pedestrian. Luckily, no one injured, but this really happened recently. And just to share with you all, tempered glass itself is around 4 times stronger than annual glass. So I have a video here. This is a 6 mm thick tempered glass. So this is a demonstration in a glass factory. I won't try it, but they say they are confident with their glass. So one person, 70 kg, two person, 150 kg, no problem. After that, then I stand on top of it. So I'm around 100 kg. So it's safe, don't worry. Okay. So a quick differentiate between non-safety glass and safety glass. So float glass, heat strengthened glass, we will call it as a non-safety glass because of the breaking patterns. When it breaks, the whole piece of glass will fall off. As I said, it's a big chunk of glass and sharp edge. Wire glass also will consider as a non-safety glass because of the wire mesh embedded between the glass. So safety glass, we always encourage you to go for tempered glass and laminated glass. Because tempered glass, when it breaks, at least it shatters into a small and blunt piece. So these are some of the standards for the safety glazing in the buildings. They have a lot: Assurance standard, BS standard, EN standard, and MS standard. But in our authority documentation, there is a line that mengikut jadual 6 Undang-Undang Kecil Bangunan, hendaklah jenis kaca keselamatan seperti kaca berlapis, kaca berkukuh, tempered glass, or kaca berkeluli. But wire glass, we are not using that much in Malaysia. Next will be how to test the level of the glass. Basically, it's classified into 3, 1, 2, 3, just using this tire swing test. So this is an Australian standard. This is a BS standard. This is one of the very rare code of practice because we did a lot of survey. But people tell you what is the level of the safety glass, but they didn't tell you where to use it, how to use it. So this is one of the standards that tell you how to use it. So if you read through here, classify B is good enough already for those heavy usage, especially the door areas. This is under BS 6262. So after we talk about glass, we touch a little bit on the facade system. So normally I will generally put divided facade into 3 systems. We call it unitized curtain wall, semi-unitized, and stick wall. So what's the difference? Straight away, I can tell you. Work distribution. When we talk about unitized curtain wall, we have 90% of work done in the control environment, meaning in factory, 10% at the site, meaning install the brackets and do some site preparation like fire seal and so on. Semi-unitized is 50-50. The frame itself is done in the factory, but at the site, they're going to install the mullion and the transom first, just like the stick wall. So stick wall is totally 90% of site work, 10% of the factory work. So everything will complete at site. So what is the pros and cons? Of course, when we talk about pros, we all love curtain walls because everything we can control. But of course, the con is it's most expensive. Then we talk about semi-unitized. not very common in Malaysia because in the between, but a lot of projects based on different factors, we also will promote semi-unitized. Lastly will be the stick walls. I think I have a lot of projects in stick walls here. So give you a test after a long discussion. So this was my project in KL, KL2. I think very rarely government invest a lot of fund for a project. It's a very interesting project back in the year 2010 and 2014 when I'm with the contractors. So what is the best facade system for this? If you look at the shape. So give you some criteria. 36 floors, 80 panels. We have 880 panels. The mirror building, left and right. So 1,440 panels are modeled separately. Average 3 weeks to produce a floor of fabrication drawings. So we are not using Rhino that time. We are using purely AutoCAD. So, anyone? Yes? Okay. We are using a ribbon window system. Ribbon window is similar to a curtain wall system. We unitize the panel, but why we choose ribbon window system? The reason behind is we cannot afford to wait to start the installation from the bottom to the top. Because everyone knows curtain wall, we have to install from the bottom to the top. So when we have, because of the irregular forms of the buildings, panels have to start randomly throughout the project because of the preparation of the structures. The structure is very challenging. So this is the final decision where we use the ribbon window. How to install the ribbon window, I believe you know, right? So we install the top gutter, bottom gutter, then only we install the internal panels. Then we seal off the gaps between these two panels with flashing. Then we move on. The ID can come in already. The fins, external fins come in quite late. So you buy us time to do things concurrently. If we go for curtain wall, unfortunately, we have to do everything together. So it's very interesting projects. The next projects, I'm going to talk about our BFG, one of our BFG Singapore signature project where Andrew heavily get involved. So this is a Changi Jaw. I think everyone been there before, right? So I give you a little bit of insight. So it's 6,000 steel knots, 18,000 of steel beams, and 9,000 triangle with glass pieces, all in different shape. No repeat. So we have to do one by one. So how the system works? So the system actually is quite straightforward. You 3D mesh it, and then each and every knots are sent to German to cut into the shape, follow the 3D. 6,000 knots. So all the various geometry are controlled by the knots. Then this beam is done locally in Singapore. Then they join everything together. So this is the big chunk of the steel. They use CNC to cut it. So another question, modern CNC, what is the tolerance of the modern CNC? Any guess in mm? How accurate is the modern CNC can cut if follow 100% using the 3D? Any guess? 2 mm? 1 mm? Actually is 0.002. I would say no mistake at all. Very accurate. So after they cut it, and then as I said, the beam was done in a controlled environment in Singapore. Everything under a roof. And then they will pre-assembly part every triangle at sites. So all these triangles are assembled at site, hoisted up, So the workers, very simple. They just need to tie the bolts and nuts. Any adjustment, basically no other tolerance to adjust anything at all. So the workers just go there, put it in, bolt it, that's it. So if you look at the process, we start from the steel with brackets. We install the aluminum. This is a skylight extrusion design. Fill it with gasket, put the glass up, and then put the final structural steel outside. So this is the installation sequence. Voila, then we have the whole buildings. So this is the photo that's showing the workers install the water pipe for the water flow. So everything is done very accurate for this job. So after they install the top, the glass, they remove the scaffolding propping at the bottom. So it's a very dense, full erect scaffoldings. And we have beautiful projects in Singapore. So we are very lucky we get heavily involved in this special project. Then we can share our experience with you. So for facade, we can play until this. Then achieve reliability quality facade through a safe work environment. So this is another project that I really need to bring it up to share with you all. This is the first project in Malaysia. It's a TRX project under land lease. Land lease always emphasize on safety. So this is the first project where this auto climbing safety screen system have 7 floors. Then we install our facade together within the safety barriers. So because land lease always emphasize on safety, they always question us, what if my items, my materials fell off? What if anything goes wrong? So they try to implement this system in Australia to Malaysia. To be honest, early stage, we have a very huge learning curve. We are all learning, but now the project installs smoothly. So what is the advantage of doing this together? Number one, as I said, in a controlled environment, this basically like inside the factories. And then we install everything, the workers install in a very safe environment that can accelerate the installation sequence. The most important things, we are doing the water test within the screen. Imagine water test, you're standing outside, you just do the test. Then when the project move on, the curtain wall also install together. So we can control the master program on time. So achieve reliable on safety facade through the continuous process of improvement. I think this is a norm. Just go through very fast. Plan, do, check, and act. So this is the cycle that we always need to do it during the post-construction period. So you plan, you identify your problem, you test your potential solution, you check and study the result, and you implement the solution. If the solution doesn't work, we continue again. So we are very lucky live in this very modern and advanced technology period, because the modern technology gives us BIM modeling, easy to coordinate, work with other consultants, especially M&E. Drone facade inspection. We use drone to inspect our facade. We are using it now, and we have the machine. If you need any help to do the defect inspection, we can help. 3D printing is very interesting. Where we use our 3D printing, we test our extrusion. Because extrusions, extrusion molding always time 2 months. So we can test it straight away. So for the beam, is I think all of us, we agree, beam always give us the advantage on coordinate, especially with M&E. So we coordinate our facade with the M&E as well. Then the next one will be beam actually help us a lot on the building maintenance strategies. So we have this machine, the arm system. all this system we can pre-design in advance during the design stage. Because when this bracket, I'll tell you during the construction time, I'll tell you this bracket is exposed, most of the time we reject me. So better record it first. So this is the drone inspection. We did this for one of our projects. We identify the points and then we fly the drones. Each point, we take photos and then we analyze from there. So we will save a lot of unnecessary scaffoldings or this access. All these take time. You need to close down the mall to check do the inspection. So I'm going to show you a quick one. This is the drone inspection that we did it for one of our projects. Basically, it's because of the glass. So the distortion is quite alarming. But the ACP itself, no problem. So to show you how we use our drones. Okay. So, are you okay? Are you still with me? Oh, you are still with me. So the next 3 slides, I'm going to go through a very interesting topic. I think it's a very hot topic in Malaysia. Again, I'll show you a lot of fires. So this is some facts happen in not only in Malaysia, also around the world. So Grenfell Tower, what happens? I think if you spend time to read through their report, there's a lot of reports talk about Grenfell Tower because of 72% died, a lot of people injured. So I think most of the you can read the reason behind is because of the basically of the PE core and the polyester thermal barrier. So both of the items actually is the bimetal from diesel. So it's a fuel to help it burn. So if you read the report, the level 4, start from level 4 all the way to the rooftop, it takes 15 minutes only to spread very fast. So next will be the Upcore Tower. I don't know whether I pronounced correctly, UAE. It's the same, it's a P. Happened in UAE. Of course, our famous KWSP, it burned against. So this is a polyform with cement plaster. It's not ACP, so it burns very, very fast. I think you look at the video a lot. So I have tidied up my experience with a timeline actually. So this timeline tells the story, what happened now, what is the authority requirement. So back in the Grenfell Tower is the mid-year of 2017, it happened. Our WSP happened in 2018. So in between January and June 2019, Bomba do not issue Bomba certification for ACP material. They changed the terms. Previously, you put Class O, Vedata, PRY, PS 476, Part 6 and 7. After this June, they add another line, PS 414. But of course, during that time, they don't know how they're going to implement it. Because they changed the term, but they don't know how to implement. So until August of 2019, JBP and Bomba introduced the BS1 for test facility or lab in Rasa Rawang. So I was there. So this test, this demo test, actually, they're using a Vitali panel. So to demo it, saying that Sirin, our own facility, we have this test. So what happened is recently, so last year, September. So I think, I'm not sure any one of you joined this seminar. I was told not cheap. So they officially tell you that basically what they say is UBBL 2021 prerequisite requirement is have to be a non-combustible material. But I'm a bit confused on the non-combustible material because if you read the letters from Bomba, they write in Malay. They say bahan tidak mudah terbakar, but at their terms here, they put non-combustible material. So for us, we always do not say, we cannot, some sort of like using a incorrect, misleading terms are non-combustible because we know everything is compatible. So the next will be the compliance of BSA 414 in CRIM for building more than 18 meters. And then you need to get a notification from BOMBA. Then only you can get a schedule pemasangan keselamatan kebakaran before you can allow to install at site. So meaning that this BSA 114 test is a system test, you have to do the test. So in your tender drawing, please put it in. You have to ask the QS, put it in a sum for the test. It's very critical. Of course, building lower than 18 meters, you need to comply to Class O, which is this BS 476 Part 7. At the same time, you also need to get a concern of Sijil Pemasangan Keselamatan Kebakaran from the BOMBA. Both also you need to get the approval, meaning that approved, they allow you to install. Okay, so how to document it? So I just give a suggestion throughout my design stage. So how to document the cladding system to comply with BSA 414? So due to the building difference materials, design, and shape, the BSA 414 test is expected to follow the project base. Why I use project base? Meaning that now you have an ABC project. You're using the same suppliers, same contractors, same fire barriers. Can you only use one test for these three projects? Unfortunately, BOMBA will tell you, please do a separate test. This is what I meant project based, because we have tried to appeal and beg them to allow us to use the someone system where everything's the same. They'll tell you, please go and do the test. So next, BSA 114 is a cladding system. So it's not an ACP system. Please take note of it. It's a cladding system, meaning cladding materials are not limited to ACP or ASP, solid panel. It also involve on GFRC, stone, metal screens, perforated screens, and so on. So we talk about cladding system, all this you have to go through the BSA 414 test. So next, how do you document in your standard drawings? I would suggest you please put in comply with BSA 114, especially in your BQ and your architect drawings. It's very, very critical. So this description should include non-combustible cladding materials such as cavity barrier, BSA 114 test to pass, and the CRIM report. Why I say test to pass? Because there are no guarantee you one-time test, one time can pass. So it's test to pass. Okay. So other information, maybe I can give you a figure of the BSA 114 test, where people always talk about maybe around 100,000 for the test, for one test. So lastly, authority. Facade-related authority regulation in Malaysia. So what is the authority regulation that influence or limited the facade? It's UBBL, PIDB Act 520, Building Act, BBKL Guide, Relevant Nation Standard, and BOMBA requirement. So when the local regulation and codes are insufficient to cover the design and construction, other of the facade work, international codes are generally adopted. Meaning when you don't have MS, normally we will refer to BS, British standard. Then we will go further, EN or even Australian standards. So this is the steps. So generally, so this is a very interesting conclusion. I'm about to end my slide now. Generally, facade is classified as a secondary structure element. They are not part of the primary gravity structure system. Although facade system comprise of the structure element that provide lateral and vertical resistance to wind, safety barrier, seismic, and other action, very critical. But in Malaysia, facade structure is not mandatory for professional engineering endorsement and submission. In our project, we ask them to submit just as for record purposes. So in Malaysia, the government don't really ask for it. So what happened in our neighbor countries? I just give you some very solid evidence that country next to us, our neighbor, they improved a lot. So in NCC, Australia Nation Construction Code, it clearly specify that you need to check and endorse the calculation, especially if you look at this glazing installation risk of human impact. They clearly specify that you need to comply to BP 01, B01 and BP 1.3. How about Singapore? Singapore even straightforward. You can look at it. Singapore building control regulation requires key endorsement and submission. Indicate the fixing and framing detail of any external cladding are safety barriers against falling from the height if applicable. This is in Singapore. So in year 2022, Singapore moved another step forward, telling you that building over 20 years of age are to be inspected every 7 years. Owner or CP authorized by owner submit a report to BCA. So where necessary, the owner engage a contractor to repair the defects as recommended by CP. So who is the CP? CP is from either professional engineers, IR, or you, the architects, they are. So this is happened recently in Singapore, 2022. So who is the qualified professional to ensure the structural integrity of the facade is properly designed, engineered, and built? If not, among all stakeholders, who are responsibility for the facade structure failure? So this will be my last question today. Hope you enjoy the show. So in Malaysia, when we talk about facade, who are responsibility for any failure? So the answer will be, in Malaysia, we always tie here and tie here. Now, contractor fault is contractor fault. No, it's architect fault, it's time fault. Okay, so this happens quite frequently in Malaysia. I think we all feel the pains. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luis. That was a fantastic talk. We are on time, so we actually have half an hour of tea break and coffee break. After this, we'll come back and Aki Media will share with us their story and then a Q&A later for everyone. Yeah? Okay, see you in half an hour's time.
Vitally Group is a leading manufacturer and supplier of aluminium home products and aluminium composite panel in Malaysia. We have been awarded Golden Eagle Award and SME 100 Award in 2013 for our outstanding achievement. The origin of Vitally Group started in 1993, when the company's core business was in the trading of construction materials. In 2013, Vitally further integrates into its upstream industry, aluminium composite panel manufacturing. To ensure our products are safe and high quality, our products go through strict quality control inspection. ACP has been widely used for buildings, exterior cladding and interior finishing. Vitally is committed to play an active role in aluminium composite panel industry in order to fulfill the market needs with top quality products and services. Our vision is to be the leading aluminium home products manufacturer and supplier in Malaysia, with the Vitally brand strongly present in the international market. Thus, our mission is to continue to expand our business with environmental friendly aluminium home products, with frequently identifying business opportunities locally and internationally. We have transformed our creative ideas by initiating Eco Art Panel idea, which is the revolution in the industry. Eco Art Panel is awarded with Green Label by Singapore Environmental Council due to its 0% VOC UV printing. Panel color is guaranteed between 3 to 5 years. As the demand for environmental friendly aluminium home products increases, particularly in the property development industry, particularly in the property development industry, particularly of residential properties to international resorts and hotels across the country. Currently, Vitally Group has over 200 employees well spread at our headquarters and manufacturing plant in Muar, Johor, as well as branch offices in Puchong, Selangor and Bukit Mertajam, Penang. Through our active participation in credible local and international trade exhibitions and fairs, we have recently expanded our export market to neighboring countries and will continue to grow our business locally and internationally. At Vitally, we believe that a positive and healthy working relationship are the keys to a successful business. Vitally Group is a leading manufacturer and supplier of aluminium home products and aluminium composite panel in Malaysia. We have been awarded Golden Eagle Award and SME 100 Award in 2013 for our outstanding achievement. The origin of Vitally Group started in 1993, when the company's core business was in the trading of construction materials. In 2013, Vitally further integrates into its upstream industry, aluminium composite panel manufacturing. To ensure our products are safe and high quality, our products go through strict quality control inspection. ACP has been widely used for buildings, exterior cladding and interior finishing. Vitally is committed to play an active role in aluminium composite panel industry in order to fulfill the market needs with top quality products and services. Our vision is to be the leading aluminium home products manufacturer and supplier in Malaysia, with the Vitally brand strongly present in the international market. Thus, our mission is to continue to expand our business with environmental friendly aluminium home products, with frequently identifying business opportunities locally and internationally. We have transformed our creative ideas by initiating Eco Art Panel idea, which is the revolution in the industry. Eco Art Panel is awarded with Green Label by Singapore Environmental Council due to its 0% VOC UV printing. Panel color is guaranteed between 3 to 5 years. As the demand for environmental friendly aluminium home products increases, particularly in the property development industry, our products can be easily found in numerous of high-end commercial and residential properties to international resorts and hotels across the country. Currently, Vitally Group has over 200 employees well spread at our headquarters and manufacturing plant in Muar, Johor, as well as branch offices in Puchong, Selangor and Bukit Mertajam, Penang. Through our active participation in credible local and international trade exhibitions and fairs, we have recently expanded our export market to neighboring countries and will continue to grow our business locally and internationally. At Vitally, we believe that a positive and healthy working relationship are the keys to a successful business. Vitally Group is a leading manufacturer and supplier of aluminium home products and aluminium composite panel in Malaysia. We have been awarded Golden Eagle Award and SME 100 Award in 2013 for our outstanding achievement. The origin of Vitally Group started in 1993, when the company's core business was in the trading of construction materials. In 2013, Vitally further integrates into its upstream industry, aluminium composite panel manufacturing. To ensure our products are safe and high quality, our products go through strict quality control inspection. ACP has been widely used for buildings, exterior cladding and interior finishing. Vitally is committed to play an active role in aluminium composite panel industry in order to fulfill the market needs with top quality products and services. Our vision is to be the leading aluminium home products manufacturer and supplier in Malaysia, with the Vitally brand strongly present in the international market. Thus, our mission is to continue to expand our business with environmental friendly aluminium home products, with frequently identifying business opportunities locally and internationally. We have transformed our creative ideas by initiating Eco Art Panel idea, which is the revolution in the industry. Eco Art Panel is awarded with Green Label by Singapore Environmental Council due to its 0% VOC UV printing. Panel color is guaranteed between 3 to 5 years. As the demand for environmental friendly aluminium home products increases, particularly in the property development industry, our products can be easily found in numerous of high-end commercial and residential properties to international resorts and hotels across the country. Currently, Vitally Group has over 200 employees well spread at our headquarters and manufacturing plant in Muar, Johor, as well as branch offices in Puchong, Selangor and Bukit Mertajam, Penang. Through our active participation in credible local and international trade exhibitions and fairs, we have recently expanded our export market to neighboring countries and will continue to grow our business locally and internationally. At Vitally, we believe that a positive and healthy working relationship are the keys to a successful business.
Hi, is everybody in already? If you can quiet down, then we can maybe start. I'd like to remind everybody to switch their phone on silent. Okay, this is good. We've got local people speaking to us. So this morning we'd like to welcome Archimedia, Michael and Julie. They're here to share with us their stories. Michael, I'll just introduce you quickly. Chung Leong said you are the creative director, associate for branding for the company. And then Julie is the studio associate. But I'll let you start and then maybe you can fill us in on your job scope. Thank you.
Hello, everyone can hear me? So I'll wait for the Nancy to help us with the sharing first. All right, okay, thank you. Okay, first of all, I would say thank you to Ivy for your kind introduction. And then before we move on to the topic, we just like to express our gratitude to Pamsc, especially Chairman, Company Chairman A.R. Haja Noraini, and also the CPP event Chairman A.R. Lau for inviting us and giving us this beautiful platform to actually talk about our story. So of course, to shout out to Vitally for the sponsor and also the BFG, and both Miss Lim and Lewis for your, I think, insightful presentation, something that I think it's something that is need to continue in, even in the futuring of architecture. There is some conversation that we have to have. Of course, I also like to express gratitude to my office, Archimedia, for allowing us to be the ambassador for our office to talk forth or speak forth our story. So I think that was the right word used by Ivy. And also, last but not least, I would like to thank my professor, Kwado. I'm not sure many of you might know him, but he's the one that actually, since my uni days to today, still continue to groom me. So it's like a Chinese thing, so like almost like 一生为 like your 为 it's like it lasts long. Until today, I still have that kind of close conversation with him. So he's the one that continued to push me towards thinking this kind of topic, featuring architecture. So this topic itself is definitely quite broad. I would say that it's not a straightforward topic, but however, we like to provide a point of view, so from our experience, to see what is featuring architecture for Archimedia. So as you can see that I built this simple note of illustration. So it was quite important that when I actually tried to simplify the thinking in the conversation, usually architecture was conveyed as a straight line. But when it comes to this kind of future thinking, you will see waves coming in, the changes of waves, a different kind of outcome. So this kind of thinking that we will love or we will want to bring back towards the office or even to the community today. So before I move on to the topic itself, I would like to talk about us. Who are we? So Archimedia was founded, has a humble beginning in 1991. So orchestrated by A.R. Qing, who started with just 8 staff, and then we have grown to around 50 throughout the years. So we have operated more than 32 years in trying to deliver, I think, good architecture, serve our client community, even try to be more creative or come out with integrated design solution, or sometimes jump to culture identity, bring that kind of identity back, and pursuit of innovation as well. And of course, throughout this year, we have been quite reputable leaders in the architecture field of Sarawak. So you can see these are I think I always, when I was doing this, this looks quite cute, in a way that to document the stage of of history and process between Archimedia. Okay, sorry. So, so of course, during the, I think, understand Archimedia, we focus on seeing that architecture, we need to know what is the fundamental or the thinking or the principle that drive this firm. So the first one was architecture is a medium through which three-dimensional spatial concept can be physically experienced. So being advocative over the continuum of time, feelings, and imagination, adding riches and quality to the journey of life. So this is one of the, I think the forefront thinking that the founder has actually led the office towards throughout these 32 years. So we do appreciate that this thinking continue to generate within the office. So some of the project itself do bring this kind of sense of architecture as a medium to really give that kind of imagination, bring this kind of life, and then give this kind of, I think, quality. So certain project that we had was Dune, Emporium, and etc. I will not dive into it, but those are the projects that documented and defined Archimedia today. So of course, this is something that we all know in year 2020. So it was the beginning of a global massive change. So these are things that we all think about, even not just Sarawak itself, but it's a global conversation. And then, of course, as a firm itself, sometimes we feel helpless. We can't do much in terms of how we can help this situation. But at the same time, we look back into our own office and see how we can actually help our own people and also how we can actually help our own practice. So there's where we take a step back. We rethink where should we go in the next couple of years. So, and then we also did a notion of rebrand. So that is a way, it's a movement, that it's a signal that we tell people that we have tried to move forward. And then, it will represent in a different kind of direction. And also, in a way, we still recognize who we are, but in a way, we also move forward. So that kind of exercise came in. Of course, it was quite a challenging time during that point of time, but it was going through a series of understanding who we are. So even coming down to understand the name of Archimedia. So that time it was a learning curve for me to be able to take it in. So it's like understanding that architecture was the medium of the quality of life. So that is the abbreviation of Archimedia. So that signifies who we are, how we practice, and how we deliver our project each time. So of course, we come back to look, and then at the same time, we look through our projects, and then we realize that we have a certain things that awakening, that sometimes it's not that we don't know all this, it's just, we just need to take a step back, and then the awakening will come up. So we realize that we focus on human experience. So it becomes a core design process to better deliver future-oriented projects. So we can respond to user and in the interaction of the space. So those are the things that we take appreciation. Sometimes we just need to quiet down and then we think, and then we take the next step. So of course, like many designers, you and I do it as well. We come to diagramming discussion. So one core key principle that guide us, because if we don't have this, we will have noises everywhere. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to save the world. But sometimes we have to understand what is our limitation. And then that's where we can bring a better quality and more focus in our delivery. So the 4 things that we came back, we were thinking about every start of the project. We look at people, we look at the places, we look at the process, we look at partnering with the client. So we come to people, so we need to design for the people. So sometimes it's really like a reciting, but often we forget, because when we start designing, there's a lot of noise coming in, from clients' concern, from contractors' concern, from budgets concern. So certain things that we don't want to devalue, but it's a reminder. So it's a wheel of reminder for us. At the same time, places, and then doing the design, sometimes we also need a certain appreciation of the places we design. So those are the things that we want to bring up, and also the process, not forgetting how we achieve and strengthen the process of achieving our design sphere. And last but not least, our design is built for usually our client who will bear the risk of investing and also at the same time reap what we have helped them. So those are the things that we would try to strengthen from our rebranding exercise. Of course, appreciation of our people. So this is the made up of people that I always look back and then seeing that the brand itself, the delivery itself, or the company itself is come back to our people. Because I remember someone told me that, architecture is not how to say, our service is, it's our production, so architecture itself, the people is the asset. You cannot drive CAD without the people. You can't make document without the people. So the people comes back into our picture. So of course, I won't say we are perfect, but the ideology and also the direction will actually help us move forward. So after all the professional kind of facade coming down, there's always a time that we felt we had to be a bit family orientated. So we try to create a workplace that, we allow people to create freedom in exploring both solutions during projects that ideally meet the client's parameters. So these are the media family. So of course, after the branding, we take another step. We think about future thinking, futuring architecture. So those are the thinking that collides. So we may think that future thinking is only for the futurists. They do the thinking, we do our job daily. Yes, I agree some point of part of our life that we need. But however, we believe that architecture still has the strength and also the possibility to do all this kind of future, thinking and thought. So I think to make it simple, I thought that this was a quite good quote. So change is an inevitable constant that drives alternative possibilities for a preferred future. So a potential that examines the implication decision we make in the present, so now, and respect what to do and how and when to do. So each of our decision, like Louis' presentation, it will cause fire, it will cause certain issues. So that is also considered the future kind of attitude that we need to have. So this may sound far-fetched, but actually we are brainwashed by the future. So I'm not sure who is Marvel fan. Anyone Marvel fan? Everyone watch this? Because I don't want to spoil anything. So if if you don't want me to spoil, you can close your ear for this page only. So throughout this series of Marvel, I watch it quite often. So something that actually comes in very succinct to me was multiverse. Multiverse means multi-possibility. So, okay, I'll spoil it. In the Avengers, I believe everyone knows. So they had to travel back time to change certain things that will correct a ripple effect. So this may not relate to us because we say, hey guys, this is just a movie, I had my good time, popcorn, and then, yep, I'm out of here. But if you come back to architecture, I believe some of the, respected forerunners among us know all this. So the first one was actually Libius Wood. She's one of my favorite, radical experimental architect, even though he don't build a lot of stuff, but a lot of his work actually kind of redefine architecture thinking. So what it tells me from Libius Woods, Peter Cook of the Plug-in City, and Walking City by Ron Heron, I think these three things gave me a sense of a message that if we are not restricted by conventional limit, we can do more. Because what they do is not fantasy. They said they're not doing fantasy. They believe in pragmatic. It means that things can get into pragmatic. But unfortunately, time and time again, we are limited. We are restricted. So even like such as Bakfu Minister, Super Studio, and also Arata Isozaki, and also Liam Yang. Those are the things that, they branch in. What if architect can go this direction? What if we can try this? What if we go all the way? That kind of single and also concentrated direction that leads to another possibility. So those are the conversations that we seen it before, but we kind of miss out throughout our years of practicing. So even sometimes crazy enough, this is done by Peter Cook. I think it's a House phrase, contemporary art. Crazy enough, it sometimes exists in practices. And then those are the time that we realize, hey, it can be done, those are the energy that we need for featuring architect. At the same time, we brought back to our practice. So a part of all this, I think, discussion with Julie about and the team about how Archimedia, or with our directors and management, and seeing that we actually have some projects that pushes boundary, pushes future as well. Of course, future does not mean it's perfect, but it means there is statement, there's an experience of learning, there's where you actually understand where you are. So, of course, this is one of our quite famous projects led by, I think, one of the director and Julie, who completed quite a lot of phases. So this is the University Technology of Cebu, Technology of Sarawak, sorry. So in Cebu. So these are the little moments that we carve out the possibility to capture, to actually imagine, and to be able to relate back or to learn from it. So this is the multiple of our universe, or Archimedes universe. So of course, I also draw back to, while making this, I took a step back, also think about myself. So sorry, I'm a thinker, you think a lot. So in a way that this was my thesis in 2016. So I pushed the status quo of, because everyone want to go Mars, but I want to go underwater. So I took an option of using mermaid world in a way that to be able to get human in a simple way to live underwater. Of course, all this crazy thinking comes with a price. It means that research, series of research, series of thinking, series of scenario, series of collective documents, and also a study beyond architecture to actually get where I reach on my thesis. So this is one of the over breadth study I had. I won't dive in detail because this will be another session already. So I'll just go into a bit of understanding. So even to seeing that, underwater can be about architecture as well, studying volumetric, understanding the relationship of all the buildings, the core, the travel, the access, and then, understanding where is the best place to position all this design. And at the same time, coming back to this kind of comic strip scenario, at the end, also move on to floor plan. So which is all about architecture. So architecture itself can predict or set up the future. So this is the final outcome of my thesis. So this is me, I think don't review my age, but where I was uni time. So that time I already thought of how I can, because before that, I'm not a very good speaker. It's terrible. And then I get scared. So I need to find ways to communicate with my audience. So I can't talk like some, because I was in Australia, I can't talk like the Caucasians or the ABCs. So what I did is I tried to use visual to communicate. And then that's where I end up practicing. And also when I came to Archimedia, that's where we actually find the same alignment that we can see the future. So this is also one of the, I think, quite intriguing photos that I actually, during my research. So it's that one picture is worth 1,000 words. And then when this was actually taken in 1968, during that time, we might think these guys are, like that. But actually, once we come back in 2020, these people are very relevant. They are actually thinkers of the future. They thought about it, they see the scenario, and then there's a cause and there's an action. So we I think that's what we actually found out, or our point of view of this, I guess, this talk. So of course, after the future thinking, we try to recapture and also recapsule Archimedia method of working. So we try not to move too far away from what we had at the beginning of the research, but what we came out to each of our design, or when we think about a little bit this conversation future, we look at the context itself, the character, the culture, and the client as well. So those are the things that really guide us for the for our two upcoming project, which is going to be presented on by me and also Julie. So this is also one of the I think the diagrammatic that when we take up on the project, a certain I guess the thinking and energy will be gone into the simplified kind of diagram that we have presented early on. So with all the theory and all the thinking, we do need to test our platform. So what we felt that we design competition as a catalyst for futurist thinking. So what we're gonna present today will be the concept home 2030 with the horizontal living, and also Langit with the vertical living. So both are the project that we're gonna talk about to exercise our future kind of thinking, and also the way how we capture the project. So first of all was the home concept element. So we thought of this using a regen plus kampong. So we thought of a journey return to the joy and value of kampong spirit. So we reimagined a different future from everyone. And what we thought that, you know, housing was a very key infrastructure. So it's very important that we try to find something that is good quality and also promote sustainable. So striving to achieve a quality housing and also provides many opportunities for everyone, and to build innovative sustainable housing and solution that I guess that differs from the housing market. So that's what our imagination starts on. So this is our scenario setting. So of course, our vision of 2030 of terrace housing is focusing on design response to the primary needs of family and communities in Sarawak, Malaysia in 2030. So we try to create buildings to go beyond just supporting living, but to create affordable livability for all. So our intent of this project was to introduce a sense of value, of fond memories of kampong living and spirit, and also place that embodies all the aspect of sustainable. So of course, the four elements that we captured for this was actually exploring Malaysia and Sarawak vernacular architecture. So we imagine set of principles and benchmark, of course, focusing back on affordable and quality living, and empowering the future of homeowners with a bit of flexibility in the design. So why we thought of kampong spirit? Of course, this question was a pop out at the very beginning, was actually through a series of research. Unfortunately, it will be a very big discussion of the research, but we thought of something that refers to a sense of community and solidarity. So like life and kampong is quite straightforward, and then you know, we help each other. There's a sense of the community. There is a sense of affordable luxury coming up. So those are the things that we wanted to bring it back, and even the design language itself, and also the architecture kind of strengthen more on the community side. So those are the things that we're trying to achieve from the this kampong spirit. Of course, we look at the urban typology first. So this is the architecture one. So we look at there are certain informal planning going on that actually encourage people to interact, and also some buildings are actually oriented towards each other for community spaces, and a lot of ecological landscape and ability to grow food, and also some of it has a very located near the water resource to get their resources. So those are very self-sustaining, and also very focusing on the community side. So of course, in the same time, we look at the architecture itself. So we break down all the understanding of the architecture of Kampong, and then understanding the spaces, and at the same time seeing what are the Sarawak architecture that we can actually bring back. So those are the studies that we come up with, and then with this study we brought it back to our next step of the design. Of course, looking at what are the few things that matter. So these three, or the method of thinking, we brought it back from our previous I think practice kind of encounter all the new projects. So we look at process, places, and peoples. However, we realize all these have a lot of interlink with each other. And then in a way that the present, once you go through with the loop, you will see a different future. So those are the things that we thought that will be an ideal kind of approach for the project. Also, of course, the Regen Plus understanding was being able to create this kind of affordability. Of course, we did not did the testing as much as we would love to, but in a way that we want to convey an idea of a concept that be able to allow everyone, or allow the buyers to access all these kind of steps of buildings, and also before staying at the Regen Kampong project. So meanwhile, we also in the research also would like to look at. Meanwhile, the research itself also covers sorts of. We come back to the pragmatic side, so to allow that everything that we presented that makes sense, and then look at local guideline and all this to help make the building more pragmatic. Also finding audience and clients to be part with the design, so all the design will make sense towards the proposal. And to better convey the idea, that we also did diagrams in a way to visualize capturing all our ideas, seeing that certain volume, how we divide the space, how we use a certain facade to activate the street level, and also redefine the housing or the front, so it to make them kind of like a dual frontage concept. Of course, we look at ideas of flexible space, which we took from our research early on, and with typology as well, to see what are the ideas that the working area and also the living area, and also last but not least, but to look at in a way that find a certain comfortable and ventilated design for the building. And of course, we also take into account for the site itself is responsive facade, and also integrated landscape, and also create a sense of identity. So these are the series that we actually took from our also previous research on the Langit, and then we brought it back to the design here. So these are the incorporated of the smart technology and covers and all this responsive system, which is required from the competition. And of course, once we group everything together, all the strategies design, we realize this is what we have carved in isometric kind of explosion, talking about each of these floor space and how it's actually joined together. And we the team also look at seeing what are the spaces that is required. So coming in from the driveway towards the courtyard area, and also towards the parking area. So those are the series of space that we divided, and with the also first floor plan that beautifully connected to each other. And then this is a bit of I think a play that we had to relate back to the Kampong spirit. So we took a section cut to see the dynamic relationship from the street front and towards the backyard, that how all these interlink together, and also create a different stack of space of living with integration of all the small, I think, strategies to combine into the design itself. Of course, we did thought of this kind of, I think, culture relatedness of the Kampong Boy to actually enhance that Now, sometimes the building itself, it's to support the people that actually dwell in it. And this is from the, I guess the street level, the street on the driveway. And this is the sectional cut that seeing that, you know, the kampong living not necessarily had to be horizontal, but vertically, it can be actually still connected, and then seeing your neighbors, sometimes hearing your neighbors singing, smelling, cooking. So all these kind of things that actually relate back to that kind of sense of community. Of course, this project, we decided not to use a site because we felt that we want to build something that can be integrated in any part of Sarawak. So we took a visualization to see that if we are given the leverage to try something different, and then probably the terraces and the houses concept will look a bit different within the scale of Sarawak. And then this is the idea of dual frontage, the one that at the right side that gives that kind of sense of kampong feeling, living. And then the one at the left side will give more into our daily access for the cars and our certain guidelines. So those are the design we came up with by marrying both of the I guess the requirement that we had from our research. And this is the one of the view, seeing that it's like a sense of gotong royong that we felt that, you know, the committee actually come together, grow their own thing, and then also talking, and then commute in the daily living. And also not to forget that, you know, we still need to resolve some of the technical part of things, but of course that was a quick exercise that we try to find the ideal and also the logic behind all the design. And this is the street, that one that the design intent of this I think visualization was to trying to see that if the terrace houses can be more like not just the ordinary one, but in a way that they can strengthen relationship. Everyone can actually meet each other, see each other, and then that will bring that kind of kampong spirit back to the site. Of course, we do come at to celebrate the small spaces. So this is we taken from one of the studies of I believe it's called Pumpkin. It's a way that they open up al fresco for wind and then access. So when you are eating and cooking, you can still see your neighbors' interaction between outside and the space towards your I guess your ground floor. And of course, the idea of, you know, walking in within the terrace, your own space, that you can see that the garden open volume, with also allowing them to be able to grow their own food, which is back to the design. And we come up with certain idea and technical to actually, I would say, to visualize at the same time to actually create a pragmatic for it. And the ruang tamu, in a way that the space that for everyone to actually enjoy. And finally, that we also look at, because during that time it's still a pandemic, we were thinking that to incorporate a home office to allow people to work, to live, to commute in the same area. So this is the overall breadth of carving and also design that we had created for the competition. So those were the series of research, the series of strategies, the series of visualization, space capturement, and also how we have carved this out. So I'll pass the remaining time to Julie.
Thank you, Michael. So, I'm Julie. Good morning, everyone. I think I also want to thank you, Pamsc, to have give us this opportunity to present our vision of our office and also the projects, the two projects that we have. So yeah, Michael is a good thinker. So he actually, when Archimedia and most of the our directors and our founders and all the architects come together, we think together, and then we the only platform that we can think creatively during our career will be competitions. So today we talk about future thinking, so future architecture. So I think what we want to portray is what home will be lacked in horizontal living and vertical living. So I'm a bit nervous because this competition, I think the juries is here. ARIV, I think AR Chai Suyong also one of the jury for this competitions. We are very proud to say that we are shortlisted top 11 out of 85 entries. So without further ado, we just move into the how we actually come up with these ideas for vertical livings. So, thinker will think, what if our home, because our population is growing, and then this is a bit different from what Michael presented just now, because the region Kampong actually that is competition that without the project brief, the design brief is without the site. It's an imaginary site. But for this, there's a clear brief that saying that there is a proper site. It's a competition that initiated by our very reputed developer, property developer, Hot Sangli. So, and I think all this actually tie us down. When we think about future, we also think about what the limitation and what are the restriction that we have. So we move into the home in the sky. Okay. So for this Langit Tower, we name it Langit Tower. So we actually want to create a living and breathing hub, because when I think service apartment is not it's very common now. Everyone, I think most of the developer or come to you with a small piece of land, they will for sure ask you to move towards to service apartment. So this site is quite challenging. It's only 0.78 acres, and they name it the Langit. So when we first got this project, and then when we look at the title, the Langit, then we have thinker start to think why they name it Langit and why it's called Langit with a small piece of land. Okay, so we try to create a kind of like a urban iosis, and then which is with a reference with the keystone concept of the urban lungs and urban living room hub. So this is what we're trying to create. So the Langit Tower, from here you can see, when we look at the words Langit, we try to think the sky is the limit. So, and which redefine the reach. So with a small piece of land, why they name it Langit? We are supposed they want to go high. So that's what we think. But when we go high, and which this area, this site is actually later I will move into the site itself. But the site actually is at the heart of the Kuching city. So in actual fact, when we think about that site, it's like a matured site. So what they are lacking of and what they have already on site, we actually study through the site analysis. So at the end of the day, we come up with we want to create a world-class mixed development for this one tall building, which is the Langit Tower. So the site is at Jalan Tabuan, and you can see the one that So you can see the surrounding actually is quite well developed with a lot of different kind of development. There are, you can see that for us, we look into the Greater Kuching, and this site actually is fall within the Greater Kuching, which is very well in the infra, the connectivity, everything is there already. So accessibility, all are there. So, and then we look into the cultural fears. This is how we think. Like when we design, of course, we think a lot, but of course we won't forget about the historical, the culture, and also the local thinking for the local, because we are designed to the community and the people. So this actually, all this cultural fairs, which is represents Sarawak. So when we think, if you go further, you go to the future, those culture things still tie you back, which you celebrate the culture. That's why we have all the festivals and we have all the traditional food. We have all the festivals and all the traditional dance. All this we actually celebrate it. So when we think we move forward, we still have to look back to all this.
Julie, sorry, yeah. Can you
Yeah.
give me 1 minute?
Yeah.
I think the room's a bit hot, so we're gonna open this. So you just give us 1 minute.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a bit more comfortable. Young, you can open it now.
Yeah, no problem. I will send the photo to Kaisu. No problem. I think this rate will be quite high, the level charge on this and service charge. Okay, no problem. So okay, we go back to our slide. So everyone feel cold now, a bit cooling. Okay. There's for when we study the site, there's a site constraint that we look into. So we study the radius within 1 kilometer, what they have, and also what are the opportunity for us to develop in this small piece of land. Okay, so when we start up with to identify the residential, the commercial, and also the government building, and then we come out with where are the what they are lacking of. So it's actually tied back to what Michael has presented. We think we go back to the site and think about what are the lacking one in lackings. So like for example, they have all the like resident of course there are residential around, and also there are some commercial, and then also there are some education, and there are healthcare nearby, which is just nearby like the GH and all this actually is just a distance away. So what we can what are the potential and opportunity for this site? So to enhance it, because this site is actually I would say it's at the city center, but it's still off a bit from the city center. During the night time will be very, very quiet. So when we think about this design, what we want to put in, try to activate it during the nighttime and daytime. So they are the series of activities that we want to include in this building. So of course, and we come back to the brief again. This is the procedure that usually we go through when we get the project brief. So we study the client. So the client is Hak Seng Lee. So they initiated the idea competition. So we study they actually their mission, their vision, and all this. And of course, at the end of the day, for private sector, they are looking at ROI, whether it's immediate or future ROI. So this one, we actually try to find a balance between immediate and future ROI. So this is our office practice. You know, think a lot. So we think that all development and all buildings have their own DNA. They are alive. So humans are alive, but humans stay in the building also alive. So they are interrelated, they are interconnected. A building will be abandoned because there are no humans. But how to make a building alive? There's the activities or the strategies and all the activities and things that we want to put in one building. So they come up with we call it a conceptual DNA. So we look into like what we presented, I presented just now. We look at the context. It's one of the characteristic of the DNA. So, and then the cultural sphere. So for example, this is probably another site. Then we look at the culture of that site, probably in KL. So we look at the KL culture. And then we look into the greater Kuching. And then also we look at the client profile. Then we come up with kind of like a part of another DNA when we move into the design intention and design strategy. Okay, so this competition is actually 2021, which is 2 years back. So that time is actually just started. I mean, 2020 is the pandemic, right? So there are new norms coming in, social distancing, wearing masks, all these things. Like, actually, we don't know about it last time, like what Michael presented just now. They actually have that before, just that we don't know about it. But during that time, people might think they are crazy, but they are good thinkers because they think forward. So now, if we travel back to the past, actually they already foresee the future. So now we also want to think that way. So when we design this, we also think about how to travel back to look at what they are lacking of, and then we provide it in the buildings so this building can sustain for the future. Probably not the future, not the future that everyone thought, but I think we do actually affects their future. So when they come into this this dialogue, I would say kind of a design conversation where we have the DNA, just now the conceptual DNA, and now we move into the kind of like what we want to activate, how we actually want to activate the buildings. So we look into home in the sky. So home in the sky, like probably my parents or my relatives or my friends, which is at the older age, you know, they have, because this piece of land is at a prime area, I would say a prime area, the land cost is very high. So who can buy it and how the developer can sell it and earn money from there? Because we talk about ROI, right? So we cannot just build a buildings that only serve the community, because when we think about it, this is initiated by a private developer. So they will have a ROI that they expected. Probably not the ROI that we think, but we have to think in their in their way. So then we come out, this piece of land, if selling to like the typical kind of unit size, like 800 square feet or 900 square feet. So it's like too small. And then how much you can sell? Like at this point area, 800 per square feet or 600 per square feet. So that's why we think this kind of and then we start thinking again, like probably this price area we can do semi-D in the sky, bungalow in the sky, to cater for those high-end, high class, high-end housing. So which I think, yeah, you can say there are some whether it's actually really practical or not, but that is our crazy idea. So, oh, sorry. So go back to the slide. So this one, you can see what are the elements in the landed property, I would say, bungalow and semi-D. So they will have their own, of course, their living room, and of course, especially the car porch. That why everyone like, I'm not sure everyone here lah, whether you are happy to live in a condo or apartment or not. Then they will say, oh, my car cannot park very near. You know, Kuching people, they want to park just in front, right in front, that particular definite stop. Like downstairs just now, you park, you will find the nearest parking. Okay, that is our local thinking. So that's why when we talk about buy apartment, when you tell your parents buy apartment, they say, don't want lah. Later I forget something, I have to go all the way down and go all the way up just to get a telephone, a handphone, you know. So that's why that then make us think again. Okay, we come in. So we do a car porch, a car in the sky. So we use a car lift to jack the car all the way up. So this building we propose is 24 story. So it will jack all the way up to 24 story. Okay, so you have your private car porch. That is what we have in the buildings. So, and then of course, and then your parents will say, I have no place to plant. I want to grow something also cannot, you know. I want to go pandan leaf also cannot. Later I have to go and the supermarket to buy a pandan leaf. So then we think again. Then why not we bring the landscape to the sky? So semi-D to the sky with a landscape, with a car porch, everything there already. So then at this point area, probably it works. So that is how we come up with this design. And of course, there are still like wet kitchen, dry kitchen. You see apartment too small. They cannot afford a wet kitchen. So we think about, why not we do a kind of luxurious one that is wet and dry, and also max room. So because we cater for high end, when you look at high end, we need to look at what they require. So all these actually, and of course, the extra credits will be the security. So of course, now people you see around Kuching, they are gated, guarded, landed property. So this one, condominium, they are gated, guarded already. So I think there's a credit there already lah. Okay, of course, there was some swimming pool, but of course, we won't do in detail because this is just an idea competition. So I'll just bring you through. So the next, of course, this building, in order to get a return on investment for this building, we'll look into the user. What type of user that you want to invite to this building? So we think that residence is a must, because when they talk about langit, so langit is like, why they don't call the sky, they call langit? Because they want you to think locally, like how actually it affects this building going to affect the local. If I just build a service apartment without anything, without the local culture or historical of the buildings, then it actually nothing. Why I call it langit is just a local name. So we think, yeah, maybe we can have that culture, the historical and all this just fit into these buildings. So we think about the user, they will be residential. And also, of course, there's some, during that time, 2021, we actually mostly still work from home, all this. So we're thinking of some co-working space. So we created a floor with a co-working space. So there people from staying above the resident can come down and have their own office downstairs. And the next one will be the fitness. You know, during pandemic, everyone like go gym, you know, after pandemic, all come back very, how to say, the body like, wow, you know. So this one also one of the things that we think about. So work-life balance. During pandemic, I think everyone work-life balance. Work at home, eat at home, and then exercise at home. So these are the work-life balance that we try to put into the buildings. And then the next one will be the food. Of course, commercial side. If you're not going out, we're trying to have like resident, you stay in a condominium, then you go down, you can have your food and you can have your workspace, and you can have your gym exercise at that particular area. Of course, there are still some cultural elements that we also implement, and also the natural landscape. And the next one will be the family. I would say it's the daily shopping, like your grocery shopping. So we will have some facilities there also. So all this come up another DNA. After we have the first DNA, then just now when we talk about what are the small element we want to introduce to the building, and then this come out with another DNA, which is another DNA, and form this into a tower. So this tower is like we address what human needs. So they will have a cell residence and also cell actualization, aesthetic needs, cognitive needs, esteem needs, social belonging needs, physiological needs, and safety needs. So all this in one building, in one tower. So of course, after all this idea come in, how it actually compound together, and then we have to go back to the fundamental, the pragmatic part. There are bylaws, there are regulations, there are principles that we need to follow. So we look at the solar study, the wind study, the view direction, of course, how we actually place the building, and also the street view, just to capture a nice view, especially you go for world-class kind of residential, like high class. You buy so high, of course, I want a nice view. So that is what we try to capture. And the next one will be, of course, the setback, yeah, everyone had setback. So, but no choice, we still have to have setback. So all this, we study, volumetric study, tower setback, all this, okay, we had, but we still have to follow. So this is a summary, kind of summary for you guys to visualize what we have in the building. So it's like we're creating kind of like a living space and a world-class attraction. It's not only an attraction, it's like a place making. It's like we want to be an iconic building at that area, because that location itself is actually quite down during at night. Even daytime, it's like people just pass by. So we want to create a kind of like iconic building, and people will know, like maybe other tourists come and they will know, oh, the Langit is one of the landmark. We want to create a landmark. So, and then of course there are some balancing in a balance in the natural light and ventilation and quality lifestyle that we want to achieve. And also we activated the ground floor, ground plane towards the urban oasis, because usually service apartment, when you drive all the way to service apartment, there is a regulation that we need to follow. The regulation is what? Car park. And local people want what? 1 unit, 2 car park. And how you want to achieve? Then you have multi-story car park. So 4 or 5 car park. When you drive along the roadside, you will see car parks first before you see the tower. So because the car park is the eye level, so we try to activate this because this is at the roadside. So we want to drive through. We want to create a very welcoming kind of development. Of course, you can see here is the car lift. Later, I will go into detail on that part. Okay, so this one I think I just roughly bridge through. So we look at the site connectivities and then all these. We try to create place making all these things to activate the ground floor. So just now I actually explained in the previous slide. So now move into the design strategy. Just now we have two with 2 DNA and form the tower, kind of the scheme or outline of the tower. So now it's the strategies. So the strategies just now we think about, we want to maximize the commercial with ROI. And then of course, we show about the setback, all these things. In terms to go very high to meet the limit, which they call it langit. So we want to go to the sky. So the limit, we go slimmer and slimmer. That is the slimmest that we can get for the living, the bungalow. So then this, we set the height of the buildings. So you can see the volume, the shape of the building will become slimmer and slimmer on the top. So the next one will be the assessing all the design research onto the site. So just now when we say the landscape, your parents like one, this one landscape, and then how to generate money because your co-working space down there already is part of your job, and then there's some commercial is also an investment for the developer, and also all these, like they have some education things that we want to insert into, and then everyone will be happy. Not only the resident, the developer also happy and all this. And we have the car lift, the lift lobby, car lift for each units. So later we will show you the floor plan. And then we study about the wind direction, the east and west orientation. So we cover it with some sun shading device. Of course, in this, we talk about technology. It's a kind of like responsive type. And also you can control using apps, all this. And we bring the landscape to a higher level. And then of course, there are some shading for the privacy part. I mean, when you go higher and then with full glass or what, there's some privacy, you can manually turn it off or turn it on for your privacy and views. Okay, this one will be, yeah, of course, the car lift and then the lift core for the residential. Then we come up with another diagram. We talk about the commercial side, how we capture the front entrance here with a nice open up jungle urban oasis, and also the service apartment entrance. And also we incorporate fine dining because like high-end apartment, you will have your working office down there, a co-working space. And then when your client come and meet you, you go to the fine dining restaurant to talk to them or discuss with them and treat them with a good meal. Okay, so and then yeah, this is how we actually split the building for the public use and also the private use. And this is I would say, is a rainforest urban analysis. So this one we try to include it in the buildings. So it's also part of the cultural. So because that area, we were thinking that probably we need to have some functions. Like, okay, now recently they have a lot of functions like at waterfront. So we want to create another kind of like whether it's an education corridor or kind of like it's a landscape during the normal day, but it can turn into a different kind of event space. And there is I would say it's a learning staircase. So they can have, there is a stage. We actually create a stage at the topmost area. Why it's not working? The topmost area here. So, and then people will experience it's just like you're walking in the jungle, going up and then to experience the landscape. And then you can sit around there with your kids or what. And then there is a event, there's a performance, a cultural performance or what, or even like today, we're having talk or what, then we can go there, you know, that kind of event space. And it will be filled with all these rainforest buildings. So, and then we come up with these ideas like the ceiling patterns and all these integrate with some local pattern, which is the Orang Ulu, the fragment of the Orang Ulu, the tree of life. pattern. We come up with this pattern, and this is the floor plan. Now how you can see how actually it works out with the staircase and the ramp. You know, staircase and ramp is one of the requirement council. So we also we think, and then how we actually comply, and then we come back. Staircase, landscape incorporated nicely in the design just to comply, and then with some landscape, and we come up with this. So this is not only ceiling patterns, but it also just like, you know, you are working in a jungle, when they need to watering the plant in this area, they will just turn it on, and then you will just water the landscape at the area. And there's a mist, so you can feel the coziness and the feeling in the jungle. And oh yeah, we have the patterns that we incorporated even in the small corner here. It's a Sahara river patterns. So kids can go play around with the water feature or this. That is our crazy idea. Of course, this competition, we only did it like in 1 month, I think 3 weeks or 1 month. So that's why we have all these crazy ideas just to show our ideas and put it into the urban analysis. So this is a street view where when you drive over, you can see this view. It's not like car park, you know, standard. And then developer usually don't want to spend a lot on car park. Oh, just, you know, your private wall will do. And then just paint it will do. I don't even want a screen because I want to save cost on that. But if you have this, and then you can tell them you will have a return on this. There's an ROI from this. Then they will think. We want to make our client to think also, so we can actually affect their thinking. So when we think, we translate this into a design, a building, visualize it, then client will think, oh yeah, we can actually generate some income from here. Then if the win-win situation, then our dream works. They make our dreams work. Okay, so this is the car lift. So we have a quick, of course, idea competition. We not drill into so detail like getting the supplier and then you know how big size. We just want to put in and then tell them it's actually workable. Like there's a kind of hydraulic platform, and then just check it out, and then that platform will move up. You can just go down there, whether it's using apps or using a button, which floor you are in, and then you are at, then you just press it, and then the platform will just come down, and then they will jet your car up to your private car porch. So that's the idea. So this is the 3D renders that we have. Not only because it's a high-end project, so not only is a car lift, private car porch, it's also from the street view, it's a supercar display. It's in a glass box. So everyone will pass by, you can have your Lamborghini inside, you know, your Ferrari inside. So yeah, it's a supercar display. So then the rich people will think, oh yeah, I can invest, or I can, you know, at home, I no place to showcase my car. So this is a good place. Okay, so for the landscape part, planting side, your parents want to plant, or your hobby like to do planting, grow pandan leaf. This is the area. So we can incorporate some of the louvers. It's openable. Of course, when you see so high lah, later the wind fall lah, the wet, all this. So we give you a alternative. You can actually close it manually, or you can open it, whatever angle that you like. Of course, there's not up to the pragmatic yet lah, with the angle, all these things, but that is our idea. So you can open it or close it, and then it actually creates a rhythm to the facade. So it's not like every day you drive there, it's just a fixed facade, you know. What you look is what it looks. So means that like you have a unit and I have a unit. I close it half, you open it half, or you close it all, then the facade create a rhythms there. So this is the view inside. This is what we try to achieve. So when you are staying inside the living room, this is how it looks. There's a natural and natural lighting and ventilation. And then you can see the planting here. So your parents is not under the sun, hot sun, and plant all these things, but it's shaded and at the safe environment to plant, to grow their pandan leaf. Okay, a quick glance through. It's our site plan, how it actually turn over. This is Jalan Tabuan Timur, Lorong 2, and then this is Jalan Tabuan, and then this is a roadside. It's not working. The roadside drop off, and then you can see the entrance of the residential side. Okay, this is the basement, not to show. You can see because we have a private car porch with a car lift, so we save cost on the car park podium. So of course you will tell me, oh, the car lift expensive, but it's a way for you to consider, but you can actually activate the ground floor, become a commercial. It's a win-win situation. You save cost on you invest on the car lift, but you save on the car park, and then you do more commercial. So this investment is only cater for the commercial side. Okay, so we have a fine dining, and then the car lift position and lobby. Is I think very familiar. I mean, you guys quite used to it or this lah. I'm not going to drill into detail on this one. And there's a cafe, cafe for you to share, talk about business. This is the best area. And then you can see the learning corridor at the side here, the urban analysis. And there's a stage where people can perform. So we have a gym. Of course, yeah, this one not into detail, but we want to show there's a gym. The next one will be co-working space. Okay, then we go into the apartment. So the lower floor will be semi-D concept. Of course, there are swimming pool, all this stuff. We also incorporated some of the common facilities that they have, but of course, there are some units that have their private pools. Okay, so this is a typical floor, semi-D floor, type A. You can see they have their own car porch. The car lift come in and then park directly in front of your house and then go in. And then for each side also. This is just to show you how the semi-D outline. This is the type B. Type B. Okay, this is the bungalow units. So you can see the bungalow unit, they have their own car porch also. And then they will have one side, private side, and the public side, which is the living room and the bedroom. So we actually divided nicely for them for the private and public usage. So this is another type of the bungalow. Okay, then this is a, I would say it's a penthouse. You know, going higher, then it's the richest guy will want the highest one. So highest one, of course, they will need something different. They will have their private swimming pool. They will have their car porch, and also they will have their maid, all these things, maid's room. Okay, of course, there are some roof garden for some barbecues or this thing. So we're not going to drill in detail. So yeah, this is the day view and night view. So we try to activate it during at night. So you can see the red light here will be the supercar display glass box. So you can see all the Ferrari, Lamborghini inside. And then you see the activation of the ground floor. This is another view from Jalan Tabuan traffic light area. You can see how it actually plays into the site. Yeah, just now when I talk about the learning staircase, right, we can have this kind of hologram kind of presentation, and also this kind of talk can have it there. People can sit around that area. This is our rendering on the lobby side. We put in some cultural things that, but yeah, that's how it actually looks like. Yeah, you can see your supercar display. You know what people tell me, like I not only want to let people see my supercar, I also want to view my supercar every day. So I sit at my living room, I can have a view on my supercar. Okay, so he enjoyed the supercar. Okay. So this is how it actually sighted nicely in place to the side. We are not trying to create a very like where we think about it, we tie back to regulation principle and we tie back to the site and the local elements, local kind of construction methods, all these things. When we tie back, then we try to design something similar, but with extra credits. So that is how we come up with this design. It's not very, I would say it's not very like a pop building, you know, it's not a pop building, but it's actually seated nicely. So I would say that every project is very unique and they have their challenge. So what we want to tell the client, actually want to celebrate with the client for every single project. So you can see advertisement time. Our soon is by us. Sheraton Hotel, the very hit topic, Sheraton Hotel. And then we have our dream, our that time, our dream before we submit this, you know, when we join this competition. We also want to have our Langit Tower here. So you can see the rhythm, our story continue onto the sky. You know, that kind of thinking, our idea, our crazy idea. So unfortunately we are shortlisted, but I think there is it's a recognition for us. So I think, yeah. So yeah, featuring architecture. Can see both of us. I think this movie, I'm not sure everyone's seen it before, Back to the Future. Because for me, Back to the Future is like very wide. So for what we think, for what Archimedia think, it's like we look back to what we are lacking of, and then we appreciate what we have, and then we go back to the future, we incorporate what they are lacking, and then we move forward. Of course, I'm not sure my future and your future will be different. Our future in architecture and your future in architecture will be totally different. But each of us will make up a better future for Kuching, for Sarawak, or even Malaysia. So I think we are the one that we can make the difference. So I think thank you for your time to listen our design talk on this too, and our vision, our mission, and our DNA. You know, so yeah. So this talk is not about. There's no solution for our presentation. There's no solution. So we just want to create a dialogue or conversation that you guys can think about, to rethink what we are lacking of and how we want to move forward. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Archimedia, for stepping up. I think it's invigorating and exciting that now we have our local communities sharing. So I hope the rest of you take note of that and step up as well and share in the near future. Before we finish off, there will be a Q&A session, but I think there was a query for Ms. Lim regarding the local counterpart for Vitaly. Maybe Ms. Lim can introduce. Maybe I can share his contact over the screen. So to wrap up, we'd like to thank all of you for attending. I would like to thank our speaker, Louise, Julie, Michael, and Ms. Lim. We have a token which we would like to present to you later. So don't leave yet. But is there any questions? So I'll open the floor to.
Oh, I want to book 1 unit now. Cannot.
Okay, I will reserve 1 unit for you. The topmost floor.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Hi, this question is probably for Michael. I'm here. Hi. It's about you are in charge of the marketing and branding, right? So I just thought that your Instagram page
Hello.
is very
Oh, yeah.
you. Your Instagram page is very beautiful. Is it part of the marketing and branding sort of strategy as well?
I mean, to me, the basis of marketing and branding is to be able to, I would say to beautiful, but is be able to simplify in a way people can capture and also they can have the attention towards. So I think that is the most fundamental thinking and straightforward for any branding and marketing. So there's many types of way of people doing it. Some people can do it in a different way, like out of the ordinary, and then a comedic way. So to me, branding and marketing is a very big term. And then I will not claim myself as an expert because I am not an expert. I'm just interested in learning as well. So if it happens to captivate you, so part of this, I think, process works. And then, yeah, I think that's what we were trying to achieve.
I have another question as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Langit one is, I guess, targeted to its high-end users, right? So for the Kampong one, who is the targeted users? Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, affordable. So we did bring two different scenarios. So it's also based on research and discussion before we made those kind of decisions. Because what we did in the office that I didn't show is we had a roundtable discussion, and then we asked our colleagues to define. Of course, I want to say my way is a highway kind of guy. Whatever the process comes up, we follow. We believe in the people. Some people have different ideas. Some people have a certain ideas. But I think that creates the healthiness of any studio or any practice. So we just see different, because like multiverse, the theory, anything is possible. And then the possibility is not an answer, but it's a way of documenting it. So what we wanted to achieve with Julie is we hope to create a library, not just within our own office, but also with other peers like the Pamsc, the suppliers, the community, because I felt that should be the future. It's connecting. So that come back to our project that actually, unfortunately, because the project is very big, we cannot talk about all the details. So that's how we quickly screen through it. But the idea is to convey the message, so all of us can appreciate that kind of moment, at that point of time. Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Lim here. So besides contacting me, Dave, you could also contact our sales rep in Malaysia. So it's Mr. Ang. So this is his contact number and also his email. You could always contact both of us. Also can. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so on behalf of Pam Sarawak chapter, I'd like to thank Julie, Michael, Louise, and Ms. Lim for sharing with us today, and Vitaly for sponsoring the event. Before we leave, I'd like to take an opportunity to give you a token of our appreciation. Mr. Chai Siyong, our past chairman, for Mr. Louise. Yeah. Come in here. Thank you. Okay. For Michael. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And Julie. Now you have to pass the camera over. Come, Julie. Okay, thank you, everyone. Lunch is next door. Stay for lunch. Thank you. Bye.